10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff. Go Falcon, go GSAT 20.
Vehicles pitching downrange. Stage 1 chamber pressure nominal.
T plus 30 seconds into flight, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying the GSAT N2 satellite. Now, during ascent here, we will
Power
tilt.
and telemetry are nominal.
We will tilt or gimbal the engines, and this will turn the rocket horizontally in a maneuver known as a gravity turn. Now we're still going up, as you can see in that telemetry in the bottom left side of your screen.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
We're also heading horizontally away from the launch pad, now at supersonic speeds. We should be throttling the engines down soon in preparation for max Q, or maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Max Q.
And there we go, we just heard that call out. This is a critical moment during flight because the combined stresses caused by Falcon 9 accelerating through the atmosphere and the ambient static pressure are at their greatest. Now, the rocket typically needs to go about 17,500 miles per hour horizontally in order to avoid being pulled back down to Earth and to get into orbit. You can track our progress to orbit by keeping an eye on that Stage 1 telemetry in the bottom left side of your screen. We just heard we're starting the ascent chill on the MVAC engine, and we are coming up on a series of events. Those are main engine cutoff, or MECO, followed by stage separation, second engine start 1, or SES1, and then following that is fairing separation. During MECO, we do shut down those 9 M1D engines, and then following that, we separate the first stage and the second stage. Once separated from the second stage, the booster will flip its orientation and begin heading back to Earth, and simultaneously the second stage MVAC engine will ignite. Following that quickly will be a fairing separation. So we should be coming up on MECO in just a few seconds here.
Main engine cutoff. Stage separation confirmed. MVAC ignition.
And there we go. We just saw that series of events, starting with main engine cutoff, followed by stage separation, and then following that was second engine start 1. As you can see there on your screen, the MVAC engine is now lit in space and heading towards orbit. Coming up shortly, you should hear a call out for fairing separation. Getting some great views of both stages in flight right now. You can see the first stage on the left side of your screen, now in a coast phase, and the second stage on the right side of your screen, burning towards orbit.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And there we go. Great news. Just saw those two fairing halves separate. Our payload, GSAT N2, is now exposed to the vacuum of space, heading towards its intended orbit. Now we're just at about T plus 3 minutes and 45 seconds into today's mission. At T plus 6.5 minutes, we expect to have some great views of the first stage entry burn. Now for this entry burn, we do light 3 of the M1D engines on the first stage, and that'll start with the center E9 engine, followed shortly by E1 and E5 engines. And this slows the vehicle down as it passes back into the Earth's atmosphere. We need to do this in order to reduce re-entry forces, and this ultimately helps us recover and reuse the second stage, or the first stage rather. During this entry burn, Falcon 9 is decelerating by firing its Merlin engines, but we are still moving very fast. And this causes the vehicle to fly through Merlin's exhaust gases, also sometimes called the rocket's plume, and this will deposit a layer of soot on the vehicle's surface, and that's why our flight-proven vehicles look so toasty. of course, that soot comes from the carbon-based fuel that Falcon 9 uses. And we are coming up on that entry burn in just about a minute now. You might notice in the first stage telemetry on the bottom left side of your screen, our altitude is now decreasing while our speed is increasing. Gravity has taken over and the vehicle is
Both
now...
vehicles are on nominal trajectories.
The first stage is now heading back down towards Earth on a nominal trajectory, as we just heard on the nets. And of course, the second stage continuing to accelerate towards its intended orbit, now going over 13,000 kilometers per hour at an altitude of 160 kilometers. Getting some really incredible views from space here on both stages. Again, coming up on that entry burn in just around 20 seconds on the first stage. You can see the vehicle is now positioned to relight those engines and re-enter the atmosphere. You can see our grid fins are deployed, and these fins will help guide the vehicle back down to its landing location.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
There we just heard the call out for the entry burn, and as you can see, those engines are now burning on the first stage and rapidly slowing us down. And this burn should last just around 20 seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
And there's that call out for the end of the entry burn. Reusability is key to lowering the cost of spaceflight, and this enables more investment in critical scientific research. The Falcon 9 first stage that is supporting today's mission just performed that entry burn for its 19th time. The Merlin engines on the first stage are optimized for sea level. These engines achieve 190,000 pounds of thrust during ascent and descent. And the MVAC engine on the second stage is optimized to operate in the vacuum of space, producing just about 220,000 pounds of
Stage 2 is in
thrust.
terminal guidance.
Now we just heard stage 2 is in terminal guidance, which means coming up next we will be shutting the MVAC engine down on the second stage. Following that very shortly should be our landing burn on the first stage.
Stage 1 transonic.
Now we just heard the stage 1 is now traveling below the speed of sound. You can see we are approaching some cloud cover on the left side of your screen.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
And again, as a reminder, we are targeting a landing on our drone ship. Just read the instructions, which is currently in the Atlantic Ocean.
Stage 1 landing burn.
There we go.
Shut down.
We just heard the landing burn has started on the first stage, and the second engine has now shut down. You can see the drone ship just below the first stage there as we come in for a landing.
Nominal orbital insertion. Stage 1 landing light deployed. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And there you have it. That landing marks SpaceX's 371st recovery of an orbital-class rocket, which includes first-stage landings for Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. We did also hear we had a nominal orbit insertion on the second stage. Our second stage is now embarking on its coast phase. And after this coast phase, we will light that MVAC engine for a second time around the T+28 minute mark. And that will be followed by payload deploy around the T+34 minute mark. Our customer for today's mission is New Space India Limited.
This is Brian Malin on Countdown 1. I wanted to say a special word for Michael Taylor.
as this will be his final mission. He has been at the forefront of spaceflight for the United States for several decades. We would not be where we are today in United States space program history without him, and we'd not be where we are today at SpaceX without Mike Taylor. So from all of us at SpaceX, Mike, we salute you, we thank you, and we look forward to your future journeys.
Great words there from our LD, and congrats on an amazing career, Mike Taylor. Now the second stage is now embarking on its coast phase. And again, as I said, we will be lighting that engine for a second time around the T plus 28 minute mark, and following that is payload deploy at the T plus 34 minute mark. And before we take a short break for that coast phase, we do have a couple of messages from our customer, the Indian Space Research Organization. And after that, we'll see you back here in just about 15 minutes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. Go SpaceX, go Starlink.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
M1D, chamber pressure are nominal. Power telemetry nominal.
Falcon 9 is supersonic. Max Q.
MVAC chill has started. Nico. Stage separation confirmed. MVAC startup.
Stage 1 transonic.
Seconds into the flight, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Launch Complex 39A at the Kennedy Space Center, carrying the TD-7 satellite. Now, during ascent, we tilt nominal gimbal. There you hear a call out that power and telemetry is nominal so far. Now, right now, Falcon 9 is gimbaling its engines, or tilting the engine so that the rocket will begin to turn horizontally in a maneuver called the gravity turn.
Supersonic.
Moments ago, we throttled down the engines in preparation for max Q, or the moment of maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Max Q.
And there you hear that call out for max Q, a critical moment during flight when the combined stresses caused by Falcon 9 accelerating through the atmosphere and the ambient static pressure are at their greatest. Now, right now you can see Falcon 9 traveling just about 2,500 kilometers per hour. We are looking for approximately 27,000 kilometers per hour, or 17,500 miles per hour for our orbital velocity today. And you can track the progress to orbit by keeping an eye on the Stage 1 telemetry in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Coming up shortly, we have 7 events that will happen in quick succession, including main engine cutoff, stage separation, second engine start 1, or SES 1, and fairing separation. During main engine cutoff, we will shut down 9 FPV engines, followed by stage separation. Once separated from the second stage, the booster will begin heading back to Earth, while the second stage MVAC engine will simultaneously ignite for the first time, followed by fairing separation. On stage 2. You can now see the first stage beginning its maneuvers to prepare for landing on the A Short Fall of Gravitage drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. As a reminder, we will not have any stage 2 views today, but you can keep an eye on stage 2's progress with its telemetry in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. They will now parachute down into the Atlantic Ocean, where we will be attempting to retrieve them using our fairing recovery vessel, Doug.
Both vehicles are on a nominal trajectory.
And a good call out there that both Stage 1 and Stage 2 are following their planned trajectories. Just over 4 minutes into the flight, coming up at 6 minutes 15 seconds into the flight, we can expect to have some great views of the first stage's entry burn. entry burn, we will relight 3 of the Falcon 9 first stage engines on the first stage, starting with the center E9 engine followed by the E1 and E5 engines. This will help slow the vehicle down as it passes back into Earth's denser lower atmosphere, and we need to slow down in order to reduce re-entry forces, which ultimately helps us recover and reuse the first stages of Falcon 9. And again, watching these views from the first stage, as the sunlight is hitting it in the upper atmosphere, you can see some of the ice particles coming off of the first stage, which is perfectly normal. Those flashes that you also see are the thrusters on Falcon 9's first stage, aligning it for the upcoming entry burn. And speaking of that entry burn, when that happens, Falcon 9 will actually be decelerating by firing its Merlin engines and flying through its exhaust or plume. This causes a deposit of soot to be This causes a layer of soot to be deposited on the vehicle's surface, which is why our flight-proven vehicles look the way that they do. That soot actually comes from the carbon-based fuel that Falcon 9 uses.
Both vehicles continue to follow a nominal trajectory.
There we can see a good start to our entry burn.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
This is roughly a 30-second burn, and you can keep an eye on how our speed is decreasing on the bottom left-hand side of your screen.
Stage 1, entry burn shutdown.
And we have had confirmation of entry burn shutdown. Now, reusability is key to lowering the cost of spaceflight, which enables more investment in critical scientific research. And the Falcon 9 first stage supporting today's mission has just performed its 16th entry burn and is about to perform its 16th landing. The Merlin engines that the first stage uses are optimized for sea level, producing about 190,000 pounds of thrust during ascent and descent. The MVAC engine on the other...
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
The MVAC engine on the second stage is actually optimized to fire in the vacuum of space, producing about 220,500 pounds of thrust. Coming up next will be the first stage landing burn, and as a reminder, we are targeting landing on our drone ship, a shortfall of gravitas.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Also continuing to hear the callouts for flight termination system safing on stage 2, a nominal call.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Nominal park orbit insertion.
And you can see Falcon 9 performing its landing burn, as we also had a good call for stage 2 entering its parking orbit.
Stage 1 landing leg deployed. Stage 1 landing confirmed. Vectil. Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Power and telemetry nominal. Vehicle is supersonic. Max Q.
Stage 2 engine jump. Main engine cutoff.
Stage separation confirmed.
Stage 2 startup.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Stage 2 FTS has saved.
Stage 1 transpond. Stage 1 landing burn.